It was Sunday, October 14th, 2018. The air was crisp, sunlight streaming through stained glass. Outside, the sound of distant bells mingled with the gentle rustle of autumn leaves. Inside, a hush fell over the congregation, each person lost in thought. The town of Elridge Falls, population 2,437. Known for its rolling hills, sleepy downtown, and one historic chapel, nestled at the edge of the woods, Elridge Baptist Church. Inside, 13 people sat in the pews that morning, all regulars, all trusted faces. And in front of them, Pastor Elijah Kane, 41 years old, calm, charismatic, a respected figure. He spoke that day of repentance, forgiveness, and unfinished roads. His last words, "Some journeys only God can complete." Pastor Kane's voice echoed, steady and warm. He spoke of hope, of trials faced and overcome, of the power of faith to guide lost souls. His eyes met each parishioner as if searching for something unspoken. And then, he stepped away from the pulpit, walked down the center aisle, smiled, opened the side chapel door, and vanished. Literally, vanished. No one saw him exit the building. No sound, no footsteps, no car ignition. Elapsed time, 2 minutes, 46 seconds. The time it took for Deacon Harold Lintz to check the hallway. No sign of Pastor Kane. Police were called. Within minutes, squad cars arrived, lights flashing in the morning sun. Officers moved quickly, cordoning off the church and questioning the stunned congregation.
Checked the hallway. All exits locked from the inside. No footprints in the rear garden. No tire marks. It's like he evaporated.
The only unlocked door? A maintenance hatch behind the altar. But that door hadn't been opened in over 20 years.
He walked off like he always does. Calm, peaceful, but this time, he didn't come back.
Investigators combed the church. Basement, pews, attic crawl space. Dogs were brought in, no scent trail. Detectives dusted for fingerprints, searching every corner for clues. Volunteers from the town joined the search, their faces etched with worry and disbelief. No personal belongings missing. And his car, still parked outside, keys in the ignition, wallet in the glove box. At home. Dinner was thawing in the sink, laptop open on the kitchen table, a sermon draft open on screen, ending mid-sentence. There are things even light cannot expose. Surveillance footage from the front and back of the chapel, both cameras, cut out at exactly 11:32 a.m., same time Elijah disappeared. Power surge? No, the rest of the building was unaffected. In a town where everyone knows everyone, no one could explain how a man could disappear with 13 eyewitnesses watching. Rumors spread quickly. Some whispered of secrets hidden beneath the chapel, others of miracles or curses. The town was gripped by fear and fascination. Then a call came in.
Caller ID blocked, male voice said, quote, "Elijah's journey didn't end, it just changed course," then hung up.
The number untraceable, voice analysis matched to Elijah Kane, only he was still listed as a missing person. His last known location, the chapel, was sealed. Declared inactive by the Baptist Council, locals said it gave them a feeling, not fear, not haunting, just absence. Then, 6 months later, a note left in the offering plate. No fingerprints, handwriting, inconclusive. It read, "Some sermons are never meant to end. No trace, no answers, no body, no crime scene, no proof of life. Only 13 witnesses who watched a man walk away and never return. And one mystery that even faith can't explain." Years later, the story of Pastor Kane's disappearance remains unsolved. Some say his spirit lingers, watching over Elridge Falls. Others avoid the chapel, uneasy in its silent shadow. Vanished Whispers. True Crime. Subscribe for more stories, where the truth disappears between whispers. As the sun set on that fateful Sunday, Elridge Falls was already buzzing with speculation. But inside the small police station, confusion reigned. For the first time, we have access to portions of the official transcript from the initial investigation. Sound, faint shuffle of papers, low murmurs. Detective Harris, let's start from the beginning. You all saw Pastor Kane leave the pulpit? Mrs. Redding, witness. Yes, he said amen, walked to the side door, and then he was just gone, like the air swallowed him. Officer Patel, no one followed? Mr. Collins, witness. We all looked. It was like he slipped into a crack we couldn't see. I know it sounds crazy. Detective Harris, there was no sign of forced entry or exit. No footprints, no personal items left behind, except his Bible on the lectern. Sound, pen clicking, heavy sigh. Officer Patel, so 13 people, 13 different angles. Not one saw where he went? Mrs. Redding, we saw him leave, but we didn't see him go. Detective Harris, quietly. "You realize how impossible that sounds?" Brief pause. Ambient tension rises. The officers pressed on, searching for logic in a story that defied explanation. One witness, Mrs. Redding, summed up the growing unease. Mrs. Redding, "It was like the world blinked and he was erased." Despite hours of questioning, the officers were left with nothing but contradictions and a room thick with anxiety. The chapel remained sealed, the town restless. The official report would later read, "No evidence of foul play. Subject missing under extraordinary circumstances." But behind closed doors, the question lingered. What truly happened to Pastor Elijah Kane? And as the investigation stalled, the whispers in Elridge Falls only grew louder. Vanished Whispers. True Crime. Subscribe for more stories, where the truth disappears between whispers. As dawn broke over Elridge Falls, the investigation inside the chapel took an unexpected turn. Sound. Soft creak of old wood, distant echoing footsteps. With the congregation gone and shadows stretching across the pews, Officer Patel returned to the pulpit, drawn by a faint, muddy imprint on the polished floor. The print was unlike any shoe or boot. It was elongated, almost serpentine, with a pattern that twisted inwards, impossible to match to any local wildlife or known footwear. The trail led behind the lectern, stopping abruptly at the base of the stained glass window, right where Pastor Kane had last been seen. But that wasn't all. Tucked inside the pastor's Bible, a folded slip of paper was found. On it, a single sentence scrawled in hurried, shaky ink. "They watch where the eyes cannot see." A snippet from the police report reads, "Evidence log 6, 27 a.m. Partial footprint recovered near lectern. Unknown origin. Note discovered inside subject's personal effects. Message, they watch where the eyes cannot see. No fingerprints detected. Area secured for further analysis." Asterisk Detective Harris stood in silent contemplation, the note trembling in his gloved hand. Was it a warning, a clue, or something else entirely? The chapel, once a place of comfort, now held secrets that deepened the mystery, and as the evidence mounted, so did the sense that something, or someone, was watching, just out of sight. What really happened in the moments after Pastor Kane vanished? The answer, it seemed, was buried beneath layers of whispers and footprints that led nowhere. Subscribe to Vanished Whispers for the next chapter, where the evidence only raises more questions than answers. As the town of Elridge Falls stirred with rumor and suspicion, a new thread emerged, one that threatened to unravel everything the investigators thought they knew. Early that morning, just as the mist clung to the chapel grounds, a local resident, Mrs. Lenora Briggs, stepped forward with a chilling account. "I was walking my dog, Jasper, right before sunrise. We take the same path every Sunday, past the chapel. But this time, Jasper stopped. He wouldn't move. He just stared at the stained glass window. That's when I saw something. It was tall, thin, almost blending with the shadows. I thought it was a trick of the light, but then it moved quick, like it was gliding, not walking. I called out, but it vanished behind the chapel. And then I heard whispering like voices, but too many at once. I've never heard anything like it." Detective Harris listened intently, taking notes as Mrs. Briggs' hands trembled in her lap. Her story matched the timeline and the location of Pastor Kane's disappearance. But what or who had she seen? Was it a person, a shadow, or something else entirely? The only certainty was the fear in her voice and the way her eyes darted to the chapel every time she spoke. As the interview ended, Mrs. Briggs left behind a single, haunting question. If they're watching, who are they? What secrets still linger in the early morning fog of Elridge Falls? As midnight approached, the people of Elridge Falls gathered at the chapel, their faces lit by flickering candlelight and hope mingled with unease. The air was thick with anticipation, and something colder, something unseen. Shadows danced along the ancient stone walls as the wind howled through broken stained glass, carrying distant, unintelligible whispers that seemed to echo from the depths of the night. Inside, the townsfolk huddled together, eyes darting to every corner. The old pews creaked beneath them. Then suddenly, the lights above began to flicker, casting fleeting shapes across the altar. Some claimed to feel icy drafts brush past their skin, as if a presence moved among them, unseen but unmistakably real. At the center of the gathering stood Madame Corbin, the town's reclusive psychic. Her hands trembled over a tarnished silver locket as she closed her eyes, seeking a connection beyond the veil. The room fell silent. Then, in a voice not quite her own, she whispered, "He is here, but he is not alone. Shadows cling to him. They whisper secrets, secrets not meant for the living." A chill swept through the chapel. Some wept, others clung to each other, and a few slipped quietly out the door, unable to bear the growing dread. As the vigil ended, no answers came. Only more questions, and a deepening fear that whatever haunted Elridge Falls had no intention of leaving. The chapel doors closed behind them, but the sense of being watched lingered, as if the night itself was holding its breath, waiting for what would come next. As dawn broke over Elridge Falls, the chapel stood silent, its secrets still tightly held. But in the dusty attic above the nave, a discovery was about to change everything. Hidden behind a loose stone, investigators uncovered a battered, leather-bound diary. Its cover bore the initials PK, Pastor Kane. By the dim light of a single lantern, the diary's pages came to life. Scrawled in hurried, uneven script, Pastor Kane chronicled his descent into fear. He wrote of shadowy figures lurking in the chapel's corners, of whispers in the walls that grew louder each night, and of an unshakable feeling that he was being watched. Each entry grew more frantic, more desperate. Then abruptly, the writing stopped. The final page bore only a single chilling sentence. "If I disappear, look beneath the chapel floor." A tense silence fell among the investigators. Was this a warning, or an invitation into something far darker? Uncertainty gnawed at them. Some argued the clue should be followed. Others hesitated, fearing what might be unleashed. As the diary closed, one truth was clear. The secrets of Elridge Falls ran deeper than anyone had imagined, and the next move could decide the fate of them all. A new witness, Mrs. Evelyn Carter, stepped forward. She described hearing faint footsteps and hushed voices beneath the chapel floor late one night. "I thought I was imagining things," she said, "but the sounds were real, like someone was calling for help from below." Her account sent chills through the investigators, hinting at secrets still hidden beneath the chapel. As the investigators pored over Pastor Kane's diary, a knock echoed through the chapel's empty halls. Standing in the doorway was Mr. Whitaker, Elridge Falls' oldest resident, long regarded as a teller of tall tales. With trembling hands and a voice weathered by years, he asked to speak. Seated in the flickering candlelight, Mr. Whitaker recounted what he'd seen on that fateful Sunday morning. He described waking before dawn, restless, and glancing out his window toward the chapel grounds. There, in the early mist, he saw a hooded figure, tall, shrouded, leading Pastor Kane away from the chapel and into the dense woods beyond. His eyes filled with sorrow as he spoke, insisting he'd tried to tell the townsfolk before, only to be dismissed as confused or senile. But now, with the diary's warning and fear gripping the community, his words took on a new weight. Some investigators exchanged uneasy glances, questioning what else might have been overlooked. Others remained skeptical, unwilling to trust memories blurred by age. Yet, as the old man's story faded into silence, a chilling realization settled over the group. Perhaps the truth had been waiting in plain sight, ignored and forgotten all along. The search for answers was far from over, and the shadows of Elridge Falls seemed to grow darker with every revelation. As days turned into weeks, the investigators found themselves circling the same clues, frustration mounting in the candlelit chapel. Files were re-examined, testimonies replayed, but nothing brought them closer to Pastor Kane's fate. Then, in a quiet moment, Detective Harper, a newcomer with a reputation for unconventional thinking, stood before the assembled team. With a steady voice, she proposed a theory that sent a ripple through the room. What if the chapel itself was more than bricks and mortar? What if, on that Sunday morning, it had become a gateway to another realm? One where time and memory twisted, and where Pastor Kane was lost beyond their reach. Some investigators scoffed, clinging to logic and evidence. Others recalled the chilling tales whispered by townsfolk, the strange lights seen at midnight, the cold drafts that seemed to breathe through the chapel walls. And then there were the unexplained phenomena, flickering candles in still air, distant chanting with no source, and the sense that someone, or something, watched from the shadows. Unable to disprove Harper's theory, the team left the case open, the chapel's secrets sealed for another day. Pastor Kane's disappearance became legend, a story retold on stormy nights, each telling more haunting than the last. In Elridge Falls, the chapel stands silent, its doors closed, its mystery unsolved. And somewhere in the hush of the woods, the truth waits, just out of sight. The legend of Pastor Kane endures, growing with every year the case remains unsolved. As we look back, the enigma deepens. Pastor Kane vanished on a tranquil Sunday morning, his last footsteps echoing through the chapel's empty halls. In the days that followed, investigators scoured every corner, each pew, every stained glass shadow, uncovering unsettling evidence and fragmented accounts that only sharpened the mystery. Flickering candles, spectral whispers, and an eyewitness haunted by what they saw. Each clue led to more questions, never answers. The secret diary hinted at hidden fears, and a forgotten witness emerged from the darkness. Yet the puzzle remained unsolved. Detective Harper's daring theory cast doubt on reality itself. Was the chapel a doorway to the unknown? Logic clashed with superstition as the team confronted phenomena no one could explain. Now, as the chapel stands silent beneath brooding skies, its secrets linger in the mist. Pastor Kane's fate is lost to legend, the truth just beyond reach. The case remains open, the answers elusive, waiting for someone brave enough to uncover what truly happened that Sunday morning. The story is not over. The shadows remain. Subscribe for more mysteries and true crime stories.